What's going on, YouTube? First of all, before we get into it today, I want to say it is Saturday evening, technically Sunday morning, the 28th of May, 2023. Thank you very much to all of our veterans who have served this wonderful country. Your sacrifice means the world to patriotic Americans. I have a friend of mine who served, and he says two things. He says, please don't tell me Happy Memorial Day or Happy Veterans Day, especially Memorial Day for him. He goes, that's the day my brothers died. He goes, just thank me for my service. So I carry that with me. It's a very fair point from his perspective, and thank you. Thank you to everyone who served this wonderful country. All right, that being said, story time, kids. This is how they get us. And one of the two things I'm going to talk about today, one of the people thought I was absolutely nuts. I could read it all over her face. So, in my state, the wonderful state of Oregon, it's a mess, okay? And they're always trying to come up with more revenue because they, typical government, will not live within a budget, like you and I. So, something they did a few years back, I'm not sure how many years back, maybe 3 or 4, don't quote me. They came up with this deal at grocery stores and liquor stores where if you buy a bag, you have to pay, it's 5 cents, yeah, I think it's 5 cents. It's 5 cents at the liquor store. I think it's 5 cents at the grocery store too. I don't know. I know it is 5 cents. I bring my own bags because, not because I'm worried about the 5 cents, but because I'm worried about the 5 cents, and I'll explain that. So, I have to live in a budget, you have to live in a budget. So I go, once in a while I enjoy a little vodka soda action, not gonna lie. And I went to a liquor store I don't usually go to, last Sunday, and I got some stuff, and she said, do you want a bag? I said, no, thank you. And then I saw that they actually for once had club soda, so I went and grabbed some of that. And she says, now do you want a bag? And I said, no, thanks. I said, the state makes enough money through our taxes and our revenue. I don't want to give them 5 cents. And she says to me, she goes, well, we buy the bag, so you're not paying them, you're paying us. I said, that's not true. I said, because what they do is they take a percent. I said, if you sell, the percentage they take off of your sales, the more you sell, the bigger that piece of the percentage that they get becomes. I said, just like, 25 cents of $200 or 25% of $200 is a bigger chunk of change than 25% of $100. And that moment where you can see the light bulb come on in somebody's head, like you see it spark and then kind of dimly turn on. You know what I'm talking about? That moment. That is absolutely not what happened here. She got that little smirk, and she looked at me, and she kind of just shook her head a little bit, kind of nonchalantly, trying to be polite. And I knew two things. I knew she thought I was out of my mind, and probably thought I was a conspiracy theorist, even though this is a factual statement. And their message was not well received or received at all. Okay, let's put it that way. But the next day, now also before I move on, just to make sure I had my story correct, I actually went down. There's a gentleman that owns a liquor store that I go to, pretty much exclusively. We crack jokes about people who walk around with their faces covered in this day and age. So we're cool. And I asked him. I went in there and made a special trip. I'm like, hey, bro, can I ask you something? He's like, yeah, what's up? And I asked him how this worked because I want to make sure that what I say is correct before I say it. Because y'all can be anywhere, You can spend your time anywhere. And if you're spending it here, the least I can do is be honest with you, be transparent with you, and make sure I'm factually correct. So I held off on making this video because of that. I wanted to go see him and get his perspective. And I asked him, I said, hey, can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah, what's up? And I go, this is going to sound weird, but I want to make sure that I'm putting out correct information because I have a small platform. I said, explain to me how the bags work. He goes, okay. He goes, when we sell it for 5 cents, that goes into our, the percentage of our sales, like I was saying. But here's something I didn't know. He goes, they charge me a machine fee. I said, what do you mean? I said, do you have to go pick them up in a machine? He says, no. He says, I order them, and they charge me a fee for the use of the machine that they use to make these bags that they force me to buy and force me to sell people, or force me to charge people when I sell them. So they're getting him twice, okay? So they're charging him a fee, and they're taxing him on his bottom line, on the sales. Cool. That's ridiculous. I don't want to give the state that when I don't have to. I think it's ridiculous. So that's something I learned. Anyway, the next day, I go into work, and one of my employees. See, part of my job is, I manage young adults, and part of my job is to teach them. A lot of them don't have parents. Is to teach them things that they don't know. It's to influence them in a positive manner. It's to tell them, encourage them to make wise decisions in their life with their finances. Kind of being almost like a parent, if you will. Some of them don't have parents, so this is my job. And one of them comes up to me the other day, and she said, the day after this, it was Monday. She says to me, she goes, I've been talking to my grandpa, and you guys are a lot alike, and he told me not to bring this up. I said, well, why? And she goes, well, he says not to mention politics or religion at work. I said, well, we have a different relationship. We're a lot alike. So, yeah, she goes, right, that's why I'm going to ask you. And she brought up the debt ceiling. She goes, I assume that you think raising the debt ceiling is a bad idea, just like I think it's a bad idea. I said, absolutely. I said, defaulting would be bad too. I said, but why do you think it's a bad idea? And she says, and she's early 20s. She's very early 20s. She says to me, she says, because they're just going to print more money, and our money's going to be worth less than it is now to pay for everything, and everything's going to be more inflated. And I was like, whoa, good for you, kid. And she knows I have a stacking channel. She doesn't know where I live. I don't want to hear the, oh, don't tell people, blah, blah. Look, I tell certain people. They also know that if they come here, there's a security system, there's safes, a couple other things I'm not going to talk about as far as security goes, and they also know that if I'm here, they're going to get blasted. So, that's not an issue for me, that some people know. And I was just like, wow, I was so impressed. I said, now do you understand why I'm always telling you to save a portion of your income, to put something away, to invest in certain things? I said, now do you understand why I buy silver and gold as a hedge against that inflation? And she pauses, and that moment that I didn't get the day before, I got with someone who I actually have, an interest in as a human being, as far as somebody that I know. I mean, I have a vested interest in seeing this person grow. She pauses and she looks at me, and that moment I did see the light bulb flicker. I did see the light come on. She's like, that actually makes a lot of sense. That's really smart. Now, I don't know if she's going to take this and apply it in her life. Probably not. Maybe she will down the road. But the point is, man, I wish all the nickels looked like buffalo nickels. Remember those? Those were so cool. But the point is I got to witness that, and it was so friggin' cool to reach somebody. Now, whether it's remembered or not, who knows? Hopefully at some point it will be. But that's why the thumbnail has a light bulb that's pointing up and a light bulb is pointing down, and one's on and one's off, because I got that 50-50 split. I tried to reach one. She thought I was a whack job. I put a lot of time into trying to influence and reach another, and I think I made an impact. This is how they get us, these little things that, and I told her that, I said, they get you these little things that you don't think add up, that you're not paying attention to. That's how they get us. Not a financial advisor. Please like, subscribe, comment, hit the subscribe button, y'all. Show that love. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Help the algorithm. not a financial advisor, but I'm going to do what I always do, and I'm going to advise you to do what I did today, which is I bought 10 more ounces on its way, and keep stacking.